echeguren family were Spanish descent. For many, the wealthiest family in the port during the second half of the 19th century. José Martín Echeguren arrived to Mazatlan in 1842. Here he founded two prosperous companies, financing part of the construction of the municipal house in 1857, and the military hospital in 1862. His son Pedro Echeguren de la Quintana would be the main promoter in the construction of the cathedral until his death in 1877. While Francisco, his other son, would invest in the port industry, creating the Sinaloa foundry, the largest in the Northwest. He financed the construction of the municipal market in 1899. The descendants of both left back to Europe between the 19th and 20th centuries, due to Revolución Mexicana. The residence of the Echeguren family, one of the richest in Mazatlan, was destroyed twice. One for the fire and then for a spark. People in charge of taking care of the house died there, a victim of the bubonic plague in 1903. The estate was incinerated by instructions of the Board of Charity, due to its location right in one of the neighborhoods where the epidemic started, according to Dr. Martiniano Carvajal. A year later, the local newspaper gave the news that a new villa in Echeguren territory was being built, on the slopes of Cerro del Vigía. Pedro Echeguren commissioned the plans to the architect Elizalde, of San Sebastian, Spain, and sent to the representative of Echeguren in Mazatlan. The reporter Amado Nervo provides a precise idea of the dimensions of the war. A beautiful chalet is currently being built, which will contribute to the beauty of this neighborhood, already populated with typical buildings. The masonry work was given to Mr. Ramirez and Company, who began the foundation work 15 days ago. The foundations are made of rock and mix, 90 centimeters thick. The stone has been pulled from the same hill using dynamite rockets. The road leading to the chalet has also been lowered so that the carriages can easily climb up. The main body of the building will measure 27 meters long, 20 meters wide, and on the seaside, a 3-story tower. The Department for Servitude will be facing the sea, and will measure 16 meters long by 10 wide. And below it there will be a cellar to store wines. The dining, the smoking, and the living room will be on the ground floor, and on the second one there will be 5 bedrooms. The height of the building will be 20 meters, which with 5 more, will extend the tower for a total of 25. 80 men are working in the construction. As can be seen, Mr. Echeguren's new chalet will be better than the destroyed villa. Better and more elegant, and that portion of the city will have gained a lot from the replacement. "40 years later, the chalet made headlines again. On September 12, 1944, a storm left enormous damage to the port. There were a large number of huts demolished by the gale, but the Quinta fire was the subject of many days. The main note of the Afternoon Courier explains the details of the mishap in its edition of the 13th. During the height of the storm, an electrical discharge fell on the building, but since the grounding cable was disconnected, the fluid discharged onto the timber, causing the fire. Around 24 hours a notice was given to the police and the fire brigade. The salvage work was sterile, burning the roofs and part of the upper floor, saving only the lower floors. The spark that produced the fire also ignited the popular imagination. In the wake of the fire, countless stories about the Quinta began to be woven. The death of those in charge, one from bubonic fever and the other from tuberculosis, the presumed death of Pedro Echeguren's wife, and the two fires gave rise to a black legend, being woven around that strange farm. The romantic history, outlined by the newspaper itself that day, includes the happy birth of the first fantasies. Mr. Echeguren, wishing to bring his wife, who lived in San Sebastian, Spain, to this city, wanted to give her the impression of transferring the farm where she lived. In this way, the photographs and plans of the building were brought, constructing the quinta, an exact copy of the one that Mrs. Echeguren lived in San Sebastian. No detail was forgotten. It was made the same distribution of park and gardens, rooms, orientation with the same view of the sea. Similar plants were also planted, the same furniture, tapestries, and rugs were brought, and the meticulousness even reached the acoustic conditions of the rooms. Exotic animals and plants were not forgotten either. When Mr. Echeguren undertook the trip to bring his wife, she passed away. Therefore, they could not occupy the building built especially for her. In this way, the quinta remained generally uninhabited, having only people in charge of its conservation and cleaning. The ruins, abandoned for a long time, fed the most gloomy versions of the tragedy of La Quinta. About the first 50 years of the fire, the lot, where this castle was, is still vacant. It is said that the fire marked it, as a place where no building should have been erected. At the moment, a place named La Quinta Echeguren is giving services for parties, or different types of events.